I'm gonna shoot you straight. Today, I'm giving you 5 super actionable sales tips and techniques that you can take away and start using in your business or your sales process today. These are the things that the sales dude bros aren't telling you.
I'm not fucking leaving!
Even if you hate sales and sales makes you feel dirty, like you need a little shower afterward, by the end of this video, you're gonna be motivated to get out there, to help people, to sell more, and start making more money.
You guys interested in any more work?
I'm Conlin-Hurd, the co-founder of the post-click agency Persuasion Experience, and in our first year of business, I closed over 500K in sales. Not too shabby for some chick from outback Australia from a little country town in Victoria. And for that first year, we were primarily fulfilling that work as two founders. I was a salesperson long before I was a marketer. Cold calling, telco sales, appointment setting, agency sales, I've done it all before. And in our agency, I close clients anywhere from 10K up to 40K plus.
Wow. Nice work.
The secret is I've made selling into an easy system that works for me. I've basically turned it into a game of sorts and tricked myself into loving sales. Because if you're like most people, the thought of having to sell somebody probably makes you really uncomfortable. So today I'm going to show you my step-by-step selling system that I call the art of sales choreography. Let's get into it. So step number 1 is to start with your mindset. And a lot of people when it comes to sales feel like they're tricking or manipulating somebody into the sale, right? And so the first thing you need to understand is the difference between persuasion and manipulation. And the best way to do that is to use one of my favorite movies, The Wizard of Oz. We have Glinda the Good Witch, and then we have the Wicked Witch of the West. And they're both trying to get Dorothy to do an action or to take action, right? So Glinda the Good Witch, think of her as persuasion. She is trying to get Dorothy to act in Dorothy's best interests. She understands Dorothy's dream outcome and where she needs to go, even though maybe Dorothy doesn't quite understand it herself. Whereas the Wicked Witch of the West is trying to manipulate Dorothy. So think of her as manipulation. And she is also trying to affect Dorothy's behavior, but it is in her own self-interest. It is not in the interest of Dorothy. So if you're still with me, then that means that's how you can think of the difference between persuasion and manipulation. And if you have something that genuinely helps people, if you know you're selling something that you truly believe in and you truly know that is going to help end somebody's suffering, then you have a moral and ethical obligation to get it into as many hands as possible. So you should be on a crusade to persuade as many people as humanly possible to get your product or service into their hands. First thing is getting on board with believing in what you sell and making sure that you sell it to the right person. The second part of the mindset is taking extreme ownership. So not blaming the outcome on shitty leads, crappy prospects, people not agreeing with you, external conditions, whatever it is, because that just means that you're giving over the control of the outcome to an external factor. And when it comes to sales, you need to be in control of that outcome and you need to feel like you are in control. So the first step is you need to believe in the product, in what you're selling, and you need to believe that you have control of the end outcome. So once you've got yourself sorted out, then we can start to move in to the steps that the prospect and the lead are going to have with you. So step number 2 is Inception and Pre-suasion. So if you're familiar with the movie Inception, that's when you want to plant an idea or concept into somebody's mind. And this is everything that's happening pre-call. So let's just say in the sales journey, they've booked in a call or they're about to book in a call. Maybe they're looking at your marketing, maybe you don't have control over the marketing. But what goes out between booking that call to talking with you? Because this system I'm showing you today is effectively going to be every single touch point that happens in that sales journey. And going back to that mindset with control, you want to control and optimize this journey. So the first thing you want to be doing is setting expectations in your inception and persuasion phase and analyze every single touch point they're going to have. So look at, how do they book with you? Is it a simple, frictionless booking system? Does the offer make sense? Does that excite them? Does the language that you use, is that congruent in the marketing and congruent during the sales process? The language you use, which is number 2, is extremely important because it needs to be congruent from the marketing all the way through the sales process. And language is very, very powerful, and it's going to help you pre-frame these people before they speak with you. The third thing to think about is, how do you get them excited? Does this just stink like a sales call? Does it smell like I'm gonna be getting onto a call with some commission breath dude who really needs to hit comms this quarter, doesn't really care about my problems, and just wants to close me as a sale? Or have you pre-framed them and shifted the frame so it feels like they're going to be speaking with an authority who actually cares about them and has a proven repeatable system? So you want to tell them more about you and your credibility. You want to show them the results that you've got and start giving them testimonials so that when they finally speak with you, however long that time is between booking and speaking, that they're actually excited and they already trust you and they've started to build a relationship with you all on autopilot, right? So you want to be setting the authority, sending out testimonials, showing them what you've done in the past. You can even start to anticipate and remove any friction you might get on that first sales call. So, for example, you might get a common objection or a common thing where people don't trust you. Let me give you an example. We've recently started to move away from only a referral agency and now cold traffic starting to come through booking in calls with myself. The thing with these people is they're not referral, they're not all excited, they're not hot and heavy, they don't have the frame of the authority or of the trusted advisor referring them onto us, which means they're more dubious, they don't trust us, they don't know who we are, and there's ways to eliminate that, so I'm not trying to overcome that on the call. And the way that we do that is they book through a Tidy Cow link for depends on what the offer is, but typically some form of a strategy session, right? Then an email goes out to introduce myself, to show my credibility, to show the results that I have got, to show the receipts of how good I am at what I do, show testimonials, and that'll go out over several days depending on how far in advance they're booked. And so you can literally figure out, okay, on these calls, these are the 3 or 4 biggest points of friction or objections I get. And it's not that you're trying to make the sale beforehand, but you're trying to prime that person to be receptive for the sale. So effectively in this inception and persuasion phase, you want to set yourself up for success. Okay, number 3, and this is the call preparation. So they've booked in, they're getting an automated nurturing sequence, and now we want to prepare for the call. You'll notice that a lot of what I'm talking about isn't the actual call itself. Not yet, that is coming soon. But if you want the call to be easy and you want to close them easier with less friction, a lot of it doesn't have a lot of what you do on the call, it's all of the touch points leading up to the call, which is why your marketing funnel is so important. I have other videos about that, but this is the sales process, the activation part. How do we turn a lead into a sale? And so when it comes to step 3, the call preparation, what I want you to remember is that sales is performative. It's not something that you should rock up and wing it. And you don't want to be getting there and practicing and fumbling on the call. So what I did when I was early in sales, obviously, like if you're in a team, you'll be doing training with each other, or you would be testing yourself out on like a crapper quality of leads, but I'll just film myself on Loom or whatever, practicing the script and watching where I'm awkward or where I'm uncomfortable or where I don't instill trust. All of these things, or where my body cues shrink up, or where I am not providing confidence and excitement, where I need to get my tonality right, where I need to draw it back, where I need to get my voice and the words and the language, and all of these things you can analyze, because you don't want to just rock up to this sales call unprepared. But so many people do. So the goal is that you practice it. Sales is performative and you have a script. It is crucial that you have a script. Otherwise, you're just leaving it up to how you feel on the day or what you can remember to say on the day. You should have a formula in your script that you've tested out and that works. Then you can test it in the future if you want to. But the goal is you have something proven that works. We're gonna go through in a moment how to actually structure a call. But before you do that, you need to set the intention for the call. You wanna know the outcome of that call and then work back from that. So what do you actually achieve? What do you want to achieve from this call? What is meant to be the end result? Are they meant to be signing paperwork? Are they meant to be booking the next meeting? Like, are you just meant to be there diagnosing? Like, you need to figure out what is the intention of that call so that you can set the frame, which we're going to speak about in a second. So to start recapping, we have a script and we practice it. We don't practice it until we get it right. We practice it until we don't get it wrong. Next is you have an intention for the call. You know where the call should go, and then you can map out the script or how you want the call to flow so that you are actually getting to that end outcome. You are controlling the environment. And the third thing is, for bonus points, is that you research the person and the company prior to the call. I'll also add them on LinkedIn so that they can start looking at my content and they can start building a relationship with me without me having to do it manually. Okay, and step number 4, it is showtime. This is the actual call. So the first thing that you want to look at is what can they see? So if it's in person, you want to obviously make sure your office is set up for success. This is where the choreography comes in, right? You can have things in place that are purposefully left. You want to create an environment that is going to lead to your success. If you're on something like a Zoom or a Google Hangouts, what can they see in the background? Are you in your lounge room and there's a pile of dirty clothes behind you? Or have you hung up your awards? Or do you have a background that you've chosen that's like testimonials or something? Like, how can you actually enhance that environment and can control that? Because this is another touch point to help lead to the sale. So that's the first step. That's the first touch point. They see you. Smile, wave, show your hand. That's a visual cue that helps with body language. There's a great book called Cues. We'll show it to you on the screen now, and read that if you want to understand more about body language, charisma, etc. The next thing we want to do is set the agenda and control the frame of the call. The next thing we want to do is set the agenda and control the frame. So this concept of controlling the frame is from a book called Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff. And basically, when two people meet, one of them is going to become the dominant and one of them is not. And you, as the salesperson, want to become the dominant frame in this. So as soon as they get in, try not to do maybe too much small talk, chit chat, set the agenda and set the frame straight away. You want to take control of the call, show them that you're in charge and start to instill confidence in your ability. Now on the call, you don't want to lose control of the call. So if somebody starts asking random questions or they're trying to deviate from the script that you've set out, just say, awesome questions. We will come back to that at the end of the call if we have time. You know, like, just push it to the side. Unless it's relevant and it suits you and where you want the call to go, then don't let them derail the meeting, because you're gonna have 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or 60 minutes, maybe less with them. I used to only have 30 seconds, 1 minute, 15 minutes to try and control the frame and get people to do things, right? So if you let them start derailing and getting into the weeds, then you are going to lose the frame and they've just taken control of the sales meeting or call. When you're on the call, usually with your script, what I would do is set the agenda, give a bit of like elevator pitch or social proof, tell them how it's going to go. Hey, I'm gonna ask you some questions about your business. I always wanna diagnose before I prescribe. So then I'm not gonna be amputating a limb if I could have just given you a Panadol. That is what I say in my script. I've practiced it many times. And I'm gonna ask some questions to better understand your business. Then at the end of the call, if it sounds like we're a good fit, I'll tell you a little bit more about what Persuasion Experience does and how we can help you. If we're not a good fit, no worries at all. What I'll do is I'll make sure you walk away with immense value, and I'll tell you exactly how you can start improving the conversion rates on your landing page, funnel, website, whatever it is. So I'm telling them, hey, no stress. If we're not a good fit, don't worry about it. You're still gonna leave with value. And what I'm doing throughout the script is diagnosing and then prescribing. I'm asking questions, and the person that asks the questions controls the meeting. And I actually can't prescribe them as a good salesperson the best solution until I truly understand them and what they do and what their problem is. And so it's not about manipulating them or trying to get your way. It's about trying to truly understand who they are, what they need, where they're trying to go, and what is blocking them, to see if you truly have the best solution to their problem. So as a disclaimer, try not get into the weeds on these calls. If you are an owner salesperson, or maybe you know a lot about what happens in the back end, This means you have the curse of knowledge. Congratulations, you are like me, I am like you know too much. And you need to remember that the person that you're speaking to knows nothing. They're back here at the start of the buyer's journey. So don't start spewing out features at them or spewing out technical jargon, because they don't care right now, right? There's something that they want to hear versus need to hear. And right now, your job is to make sure that what you do is a good fit. Then I always make sure at the end of the call, if they are a good fit, I book them in for their next session with me, usually within 48 hours. And I tell them what's going to happen next very clearly. I'm gonna send you out a proposal with a quick Loom video. This is gonna walk through everything that you need to know, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna pre-book us, and now we have a wait list. Then I always go through the BANT model, B-A-N-T, budget, authority, need, time, budget. Hey, just so you know, our funnels or this solution would start at about 10, 20K, whatever it is. Does this sit within what you were thinking budget-wise? Or does this work with like what you were thinking? Whatever. They're either gonna vomit in their mouth and be like, whoa, no, I just don't have the budget. Cool, now I'm not gonna waste my time on a proposal. Or they're gonna say, that sounds great, not a problem. Yes, okay, great. Now you've anchored them on price. Make sure you don't anchor them too low. Next is authority. Okay, is there anybody else, like a business partner or your manager, that would need to be involved in the decision-making process to go ahead with us? Then you'll find out either no, I'm the decision maker, or yes, there is another person. So that's where I always send a Loom when I send my proposal, because I want to control that. I don't want this person who just met me and just learned what we're doing to go and sell another person. And I also make sure that they get invited to the next call. Budget, authority, need, N, need. You should have already figured that out. How big is the problem, right? Then time. Okay, well, how quickly are you looking to get started? It sounds like you've got a $2 million problem, you're getting this many leads, you want to get this many leads, and you've got really ambitious growth goals. When are you looking to start something like this? And if they say not for 3 years, well, you probably ask them why. But this just starts to open up so you can make sure you've got a highly qualified lead before you move into the next steps. And here, why am I getting them booked onto the next call? Because I want to keep the momentum. Delay is the death of the sale, and I want to keep momentum going. And number 5 is post-call. So these are the touch points that happen after we hang up. So we have a very strong proposal. I'll maybe do another video if anyone's interested running through our proposal. That proposal closes us 10K clients, 20K, 30K, 40K plus. It's a very, very good proposal, but that goes through their needs analysis. It has social proof, etc., etc. It's a very, very strong sales enablement piece, and you want to figure out what are the sales enablement pieces that you need to help to fortify your sales experience. And the next thing is relentless follow-up. Let's say they're not ready right now. This is a big mistake I see a lot of people making in their businesses. I've worked with about 500 businesses, so I see it a lot. And they say, oh, they're not a buyer, they're not going to buy now. And then they just discard this lead. So they spent all of this money acquiring their lead. They spent all of this time and money nurturing this lead through the sales process. And just because this person wasn't ready to buy right the second that they wanted them to buy, they throw the lead in the discard pile. That's silly. What you want to do is make sure that you have email automation, nurturing them on autopilot, building pipeline, and bringing them back. Alrighty team, and there you have it. That is the art of sales choreography. That is how I do my sales process. Will it work for you? Will it work for everybody else? Maybe. The thing is, you need to try out these things and see what works for you. If there was one selling system that was the bestest and only selling system, there would only be one person selling one selling system. So just remember that the next time you go and look for a sales coach or you go and look at sales training, the idea is that you go out there and you bring all of this information back and you create a system that works for you and gets the results. So step 1 is getting your mindset under control, believing in what you sell, and taking extreme ownership on the outcome. Number 2 is the Inception and the Pre-suasion. How can you set yourself up for success pre-call so they're excited and motivated to purchase? Number 3 is the call preparation. Do not rock up to the call and wing it. Number 4 was Showtime. This is the first call. You want to control that, set the frame, set the agenda, have a clear script, run through it, don't deviate from it, and don't get into the weeds. And finally, number 5 is post-call. There's a lot of things that can go on there, but make sure you have a very, very strong proposal, very, very strong sales enablements, and if they're not ready to buy now, make sure you have the relentless follow-up to bring them back. Alrighty team, and that is the end of today's training. Let me know in the comments, what did you think? Do you have any questions, or do you have anything that you have found has worked for your sales process? I would love to hear it. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna leave some videos on now that is going to help you fast track your success even further.